When the night grows quiet and fear begins to whisper, listen closely. This moment is not accidental. You were led here to rest under Psalm 27's sleep meditation, where I remind you gently, the Lord is your light. Darkness does not mean abandonment. Silence does not mean absence. Even now, when your eyes struggle to see peace, I remain awake, guarding your heart. If tonight you feel afraid, overwhelmed, or alone, stay with me. Let these Bible verses for fear slow your breathing, calm your thoughts, and wrap your mind in safety. Before the night ends, fear will loosen its grip, and rest will come more easily than you expect. If this speaks to your situation, type Amen in the comments, not for others to see, but as a quiet agreement in your heart. And if you long for peaceful sleep guided by Scripture, subscribe to Sacred Serenity, where I speak peace over you night after night. Listen until the end. Those who do often fall asleep faster, wake with a calmer heart, and carry quiet strength into the next day. Stay, rest. Let the light remain with you tonight. Psalm 91. I see you lying there, listening, breathing. Your body is still, but your thoughts have been restless for a long time. Even now, as the night surrounds you, part of your heart remains alert, as if danger might come the moment you close your eyes. I know this feeling. I know how fear waits for silence, how worry grows louder when the world finally stops speaking. You are not exposed. You are not unguarded. You are not as alone as your thoughts have been telling you. You dwell under my wings. This is not an image meant to impress your mind. It is a truth meant to settle your nervous system, to slow your breathing, to remind your soul where it belongs. When you dwell under my wings, you are not standing in the open. You are not walking without cover. You are resting in a place that fear cannot reach. The night does not own you. Darkness does not have authority over you. No terror of the night may claim you, because you are already claimed by my care. Let that truth sink deeper than your thoughts. Feel the surface beneath you. Feel the weight of your body being held. You do not need to hold yourself together right now. You do not need to stay alert. This is a moment designed for rest, not defense. I see every worry you carried into this night, the unspoken concerns, the quiet fears you did not share with anyone because you did not want to be a burden, the questions that return every evening when the distractions fade. They have been gripping your chest, tightening your shoulders, keeping your jaw clenched even in sleep. Let the worries loosen their grip. You do not need to solve them tonight. You do not need to understand everything before you rest. Protection does not come from control. Safety does not come from overthinking. Peace comes from trust, and trust grows when you allow yourself to stop striving. This is why you are here, listening to Psalm 91 for sleep, not to analyze every word, but to let the truth of protection wash over you slowly, gently, repeatedly, until your body believes what your soul already knows. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Rest is not weakness. Rest is evidence that you know where your shelter is. You are not sleeping in the open field of uncertainty. You are resting in the shadow of my presence. A shadow means I am close. A shadow means I have not moved away from you. A shadow means the light is behind you, not gone. Say quietly within yourself, even if only as a thought, I am covered. This is your protection prayer at night. Not loud, not rushed, not forced, just true. I am covered. No arrow that flies by day, and no fear that creeps by night, has permission to decide your future. The images your mind creates when anxiety rises are not prophecies. They are signals of exhaustion. And exhaustion is not a spiritual failure. It is a human condition that calls for rest. I am not disappointed in you for feeling afraid. I am not distant because your faith feels small tonight. I do not withdraw when you feel overwhelmed. I draw closer. You are safe here. Let your breathing slow naturally. You do not need to control it. Just notice it. Each breath is a reminder that life is still being sustained for you, without your effort. You may have learned to associate nighttime with vulnerability. Perhaps nights were once filled with uncertainty, loneliness, or pain. Perhaps your body remembers things your mind tries to forget. But tonight is different. Tonight, you are not facing the dark alone. I will cover you with my feathers, and under my wings, you will find refuge. My faithfulness is your shield and rampart. Protection does not mean the absence of all difficulty. It means the presence of care that never leaves you unattended. It means you are not facing tomorrow unprepared, even while you sleep tonight. Your mind does not need to stay on guard. Your heart does not need to race ahead. You are allowed to rest deeply, knowing that someone stronger than your fear is awake. This is why this moment matters. This is why listening matters. Not because you must stay awake to receive something, but because your soul is learning again how to rest while being held. You are learning to sleep with Jesus, not as an idea, but as an experience of safety. Even now, fear is beginning to soften, not because it has been argued away, but because it is losing its authority. Fear cannot stay strong where trust is quietly growing. If a sudden thought tries to interrupt this peace, do not fight it. Simply let it pass. You are not required to answer every anxious question tonight. There will be time for clarity later. This moment is for rest. No plague will come near your dwelling. No unseen threat will take you by surprise. Not because you are perfect, but because you are covered. The world may feel unpredictable, but you are not living unprotected within it. Your life is not an accident waiting to happen. It is a story being held by care far greater than your awareness. This is why Psalm 91 for sleep has been a refuge for so many before you, because it speaks not only to the mind, but to the body that has learned to brace itself. It teaches the nervous system how to stand down. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let your eyes rest without scanning the darkness. I am here. I see you. You are safe. You do not need to prove your strength tonight. You do not need to earn protection through effort. Protection is given, not achieved. You are not forgotten in the quiet hours. You are not overlooked because the world is asleep. These hours are not empty. They are watched. I have commanded my angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. Even if you do not feel it, you are being guarded. Even if your emotions lag behind the truth remains unchanged. Feelings rise and fall. Coverage remains. If you wake briefly during the night, let this truth greet you instead of fear. If your mind stirs, let it return gently to this place of shelter. You do not need to restart the day. You can simply rest again. This is a Christian sleep aid, not because it distracts you, but because it anchors you. Not because it avoids reality, but because it places reality in the right hands. You may drift in and out of awareness as you listen. That is okay. Your soul is still hearing. Your heart is still receiving. You are allowed to sleep deeply. You are allowed to let go. Nothing that hides in the dark can stand before my presence. Nothing unseen has more authority than the one who watches over you now. You are covered when you sleep. You are covered when you wake. You are covered in moments of confidence and in moments of doubt. Let this night be a night where fear does not have the final word. Let it be a night where rest comes more easily than it has in a long time. You are not exposed. You are not alone. You dwell under my wings. Stay here. Breathe. Rest. You are safe here. Isaiah 41. Do not fear, for I am with you. These words are not spoken to rush you, and they are not meant to startle you awake. I do not shout them into the noise of your thoughts. I whisper them gently, slowly, so your heart can hear what your mind has struggled to believe. You have been strong for a long time, stronger than people know, stronger than you expected to be, and yet tonight, your strength feels thin, stretched, worn at the edges. Even lying still, your body carries the memory of effort, of holding on, of enduring, of pushing through days that asked more of you than you felt able to give. I see that tiredness. I do not judge it. I do not mistake it for weakness of faith. It is simply the sign of someone who has been carrying weight alone for too long. Do not fear, for I am with you. Let these words settle not as a command, but as an assurance. Fear often comes at night, not because danger is greater, but because defenses are lower. The distractions fade, the noise quiets, and what has been held back all day begins to surface. Thoughts wander, worries repeat, anxious questions knock softly, then more insistently. What if something goes wrong? What if I cannot handle what comes next? What if I fall? Even now, as you listen, part of you may still be bracing, keeping watch, preparing for something unseen. But tonight, you are not required to stand guard. I am holding you steady. This is the heart of Isaiah 41. Fear not. Not that nothing will ever feel uncertain, but that you are never unsupported within uncertainty. Not that you must be fearless, but that fear no longer stands alone with you. I am with you. Feel the place where your body meets the surface beneath you. You are being held physically, and you are being held spiritually. You are not suspended in emptiness. You are not about to slip into something unknown without support. When your strength feels thin, that is not the moment you are abandoned. That is the moment you are carried. I will strengthen you. Strength does not always arrive as energy. Sometimes it arrives as permission to rest. Sometimes it arrives as a loosening of the grip you have kept on everything. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet realization that you do not have to manage this moment alone. God strengthens you not only when you are awake and active, but when you are still and sleeping. Even now, while your thoughts slow, strength is being restored in ways you cannot measure. I will help you. Help does not always announce itself. Often it comes quietly, unnoticed at first. A calmer breath, a softer thought, a sense that you are no longer standing on the edge of something fragile. If your mind has been racing with anxious loops, replaying the same worries again and again, let this be the moment they begin to loosen. You do not need to finish every thought tonight. You do not need to reach clarity before you rest. This is why the Bible for anxiety speaks so often of God's presence rather than explanations. Peace does not always come from answers. It comes from companionship. I am with you. Let that phrase repeat gently in your awareness, not as something to analyze, but as something to rest in. I am with you. You may not feel strong. You may not feel prepared. You may not feel certain. But you are not alone in this moment, and you are not alone in what comes next. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. To be upheld means you are not balancing on your own. It means when you feel unsteady, there is support beneath you. It means when you fear falling, you are already being held. You may rest. Rest is not giving up. Rest is not ignoring reality. Rest is choosing to trust that holding everything together is not your responsibility tonight. Your body knows how to sleep, even when your mind resists. Your soul remembers how to rest, even when fear has interrupted it before. Let your breathing find its natural rhythm. No effort is required. No technique is needed. Just allow what is already happening to continue. Jesus calms anxious thoughts not by force, but by presence, not by arguing with fear, but by staying with you until fear no longer feels alone. If a thought arises about tomorrow, about the past, about something unfinished, notice it without judgment. Then let it drift away. You are not failing if thoughts appear. You are simply human. Return gently to this truth. I am holding you. Night devotion is not about doing something perfectly. It is about being willing to stop striving and be held. Do not fear, for I am with you. I know the places where your confidence feels fragile. I know the parts of your story that still feel unresolved. I know the moments that taught your body to brace itself. And still, I am here. I am not surprised by your anxiety. I am not disappointed by your exhaustion. I am not distant because your faith feels quiet tonight. I whisper so your heart can hear. You may drift in and out of awareness as you listen. That is not a problem. Your soul is still receiving what it needs. You do not need to stay alert to be strengthened. Even now, the weight you have been carrying is being shared. Even now, the fear that once felt sharp is softening at the edges. Not because it has disappeared, but because it is no longer in charge. I will not let you fall. Let that promise replace the fear that has followed you into the night. You are not standing on your own strength. You are not responsible for keeping yourself steady in the dark. If you have been afraid of failing, afraid of losing control, afraid of what might happen if you finally let go, hear this clearly. You will not fall. Not because you are strong enough, but because you are held. The night does not threaten you. It shelters you. It gives you permission to stop performing, stop proving, stop holding everything together. You may sleep knowing that while your body rests, care continues. You may sleep knowing that nothing essential is being neglected. You may sleep knowing that even in silence, you are accompanied. This is not a moment you must rush through. There is no goal to reach before sleep arrives. There is no standard you must meet. Just remain here. Let the words of Isaiah 41, "Fear not," echo softly within you. Let the truth sink beneath your thoughts and into your being. I am with you. I am strengthening you. I am helping you. I am holding you. You may rest now. There is no fall waiting for you in this moment. Only support, only presence, only peace growing quietly as you sleep. Stay here. Breathe. Rest. I will not let you fall. Philippians 4. Lay down the thoughts you keep carrying, not by force, not all at once, but gently, one by one, like setting down heavy bags you were never meant to bring into the night. Some of these thoughts followed you all day. Others waited quietly until the lights dimmed and the world grew still. They return at night because you finally stop moving, and they finally ask to be noticed. They were never meant to follow you into the night. You have tried to manage them. You have tried to reason with them. You have tried to quiet them by staying busy, by staying strong, by staying alert. But now the day has ended, and your body is asking for rest. Your mind may resist at first, because it has grown used to guarding everything. Tonight, you do not need to guard yourself. My peace stands watch over your mind now. This peace does not rush you. It does not demand that you feel calm immediately. It does not scold you for still feeling anxious. It arrives quietly, like a presence that takes its place at the door and does not leave. Gentle, firm, unmovable. This is the peace spoken of in Philippians 4 sleep prayer. Not a fragile calm that breaks at the first anxious thought, but a steady protection that remains even when thoughts wander. Be anxious for nothing. These words are not spoken to shame you. They are not spoken to deny what you have felt. They are an invitation to set something down. Anxiety is heavy because it asks you to predict, to prevent, to prepare for everything at once. It convinces you that rest is risky, that letting go means something will be missed. But peace does not ask you to foresee the future. Peace asks you to trust that you are not alone in it. Let your shoulders relax. You may not even realize how tense they have been. Let your jaw soften. Let your hands rest without gripping anything. Sleep without guarding yourself. You have been on watch for a long time, watching outcomes, watching people, watching situations that felt uncertain or fragile, even watching yourself, afraid of making mistakes or missing signs. Tonight, you are relieved of that duty. I am guarding you. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. This peace does not need to be understood to work. It does not wait for you to solve everything first. It surpasses understanding because it operates beneath thought, at the level of the soul, the breath, the nervous system that has been on high alert for too long. Peace of God meditation is not about emptying your mind. It is about filling the space with presence, not your presence, but mine. As you listen, your breathing may begin to slow without effort. Your thoughts may still drift, but they lose their sharpness. They come, and then they go. You do not need to chase them. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, let your mind rest there, not as a task, not as a checklist, as a direction. If your thoughts move toward fear, gently return them to this moment. You are safe right now. You are held right now. Nothing is required of you in this instant except to rest. This is an anxiety relief Bible, not because it removes every problem, but because it removes the burden of carrying them alone. Anxiety shrinks when companionship grows. I know the thoughts you keep returning to, the conversation you replay, the decision you are unsure about, the future you feel responsible to secure. Lay them down, not because they do not matter, but because they matter too much to be handled in exhaustion. My peace stands watch. That means even while you sleep, care continues. Even while your awareness fades, nothing essential is neglected. Even while your body rests, protection remains active. This is why you can sleep deeply without fear of being careless. You are not abandoning responsibility, you are entrusting it. If your mind resists this idea, that is okay. Resistance often comes from habit, not truth. You have learned to survive by staying alert. Tonight, you are learning to live by trusting. Christian deep sleep audio is not meant to pull you away from reality. It is meant to place reality in the right hands, not yours alone. If you wake briefly in the night, let this peace greet you again. You do not need to restart the day. You do not need to evaluate anything. Simply return to rest. The night is not a test you must pass. It is a space prepared for restoration. I know how fear can feel stronger when everything is quiet. I know how the mind searches for threats when it is tired. I know how the heart remembers past pain when the world grows still. And still, my peace remains. Gentle enough not to overwhelm you, firm enough not to be shaken, unmovable even when emotions fluctuate. You may not feel perfectly calm yet. That is not required. Peace does not demand perfection. It offers protection. Let your body sink more fully into rest. Notice the surface beneath you supporting your weight. You are not floating in uncertainty. You are being held. The worries that once felt urgent are beginning to lose their edge. They do not disappear all at once. They soften, they loosen, they become less convincing. This is how peace works, not by force, but by presence. Sacred serenity, calm, is not something you create. It is something you receive. I am guarding you from what you cannot see. I am guarding you from what you cannot predict. I am guarding you from the fear that tells you everything depends on you. Nothing essential is at risk because you are resting. You may let your thoughts slow further now. There is no rush to sleep. Sleep will come when it is ready. Your role is simply to rest in this moment. The peace of God is not fragile. It does not break when doubts arise. It does not withdraw when you feel tired. It stays. If an anxious thought appears, notice it without judgment. You do not need to argue with it. You do not need to push it away. Simply let it pass through, like a cloud moving across the sky. Return again to this truth. I am guarding you. You do not need to guard yourself. The world may feel unpredictable, but you are not unprotected within it. Your life is not hanging by a thread. It is held by care deeper than you can measure. This is why Philippians 4 sleep prayer has brought rest to so many hearts before you. Because it speaks not only to belief, but to the weary places that long for safety. Let tonight be a night where vigilance gives way to trust. Let it be a night where your body learns again how to rest without fear. You are allowed to sleep deeply. You are allowed to let go. You are allowed to stop watching. My peace stands watch over your mind now. Gentle, firm, unmovable. Stay here. Breathe. Rest. Sleep without guarding yourself. I am guarding you. Psalm 23. Even here, in stillness, I shepherd you, not from a distance, not by command, but by presence. I am near enough that you do not have to look for me, near enough that you do not need to prove where you are going, near enough that even your quiet breathing is known. You are not wandering. You may feel uncertain. You may feel paused. You may feel like life has slowed in ways you did not plan. But wandering is not the same as resting, and tonight you are resting. You are exactly where you are meant to be in this moment. I am leading you, not toward effort, not toward explanation, not toward fixing what feels incomplete. I am leading you toward rest. The Lord is my shepherd. This is not a phrase meant to be admired from afar. It is a truth meant to be lived in the body, especially when the body is tired. A shepherd does not rush the sheep at night. A shepherd does not demand clarity before allowing rest. A shepherd stays close, watches carefully, and lets the flock lie down. Lie down. Not because you have finished everything, not because you finally earned rest, but because you were never meant to carry everything into the night. Nothing is missing, even if your mind insists otherwise. Even if your thoughts begin listing all the unfinished things, all the unanswered questions, all the uncertainties waiting for tomorrow. Nothing essential is missing in this moment. You are breathing. You are being held. You are being watched over. Nothing is wrong. This does not mean nothing has been hard. It does not mean nothing hurts. It means this moment itself is safe. It means you do not need to repair anything before you rest. Psalm 23 for sleep is not a verse to rush through. It is a place to lie down inside. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Notice how rest is not optional here. It is guided. You are not told to find rest on your own. You are led to it. Green pastures are not loud places. They are not crowded. They are not demanding. They are quiet spaces where the body can finally stop scanning for danger. If your mind has been restless, That does not mean you are failing at rest. It means your mind has learned to protect you by staying alert. Tonight, it is learning something new. He leads me beside still waters. Still waters do not rush. They do not pull. They do not demand attention. They simply are. Let your thoughts slow the way water settles when nothing disturbs it. You do not need to force calm. You do not need to chase silence. Just allow the stillness to exist around you. Christian meditation is not about emptying yourself. It is about being filled with reassurance. He restores my soul. Restoration does not always feel dramatic. Often it feels quiet, subtle, like tension easing without you noticing the exact moment it happened. Your soul has been carrying weight that words cannot easily describe. Expectations, responsibilities, memories, concerns about who you need to be and what you need to hold together. Tonight, restoration begins, not with effort, but with permission. You are allowed to lie down. You are allowed to stop striving. You are allowed to trust that care continues, even while you rest. You may have felt pressure to keep moving, to keep producing, to keep understanding. But sheep are not asked to solve the path. They are asked to follow. And tonight, following looks like resting. Even if you feel uncertain about where life is heading, you are not lost. Even if the future feels unclear, you are not abandoned. Even if you feel tired beyond words, you are not failing. I shepherd you. That means I walk ahead of you. It means I watch behind you. It means nothing sneaks up on you unnoticed. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Notice that the valley is something you walk through, not something you remain trapped in. Notice also that the shadow does not have substance. It may look frightening, but it cannot harm you. Night can feel like a valley when fears grow louder and memories surface. But even here, fear does not have the final word. I am with you. Let that truth settle deeper than your thoughts, deeper than your worries, deeper than the stories your mind tells when it is tired. Sleep scripture with Jesus is not meant to distract you from reality. It is meant to anchor you in what is most real. My rod and my staff, they comfort you. Comfort does not come from control. It comes from knowing someone is watching over you with care and authority. Someone who sees what you cannot see. Someone who intervenes when necessary. You do not need to anticipate danger to be safe. You do not need to stay alert to be protected. Your body can rest now. Your mind can soften now. Your heart can unclench now. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Even in environments that once felt threatening, provision appears. Even in seasons of pressure, nourishment remains. Even when challenges exist, they do not define your worth or your future. You anoint my head with oil. Anointing is a sign of care, of setting apart, of attention given gently. It is not rushed. It is not harsh. It is deliberate and kind. Your cup overflows. Overflow does not come from scarcity thinking. It comes from trust, from realizing that you are not surviving on the edge of lack. Even if you do not feel abundance right now, you are not empty. Even if joy feels distant, you are not devoid of goodness. Comfort psalms like this were spoken for moments like this. Moments when the heart needs reassurance more than explanation. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Notice that goodness follows you. You do not chase it. You do not earn it. It follows, even when you sleep, even when you feel unsure, even when you rest. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Dwelling is not rushing in and out. It is staying, belonging, being known. Tonight, you are dwelling in care. Nothing is missing. Nothing is wrong. If your thoughts try to tell you otherwise, let them pass gently. You do not need to argue with them. You do not need to prove peace. Just return to this truth again and again. I shepherd you. Your breathing may deepen now. Your body may feel heavier, more supported. This is not something you need to monitor. It is something you are allowed to receive. Sleep may come gradually, or it may come suddenly. Either way, you are safe. If you drift in and out of awareness, that is fine. Your soul is still resting. Your heart is still being comforted. You are not wandering. You are being led. Lie down. Nothing is missing. Nothing is wrong. Stay here. Breathe. Rest. I shepherd you. Psalm 46. You do not have to fix tomorrow tonight. You have been carrying tomorrow for hours, maybe days, maybe far longer than you realize. You have been rehearsing conversations that have not happened, preparing for outcomes you cannot yet see, holding responsibility for things that are not required of you in this moment. But this moment is not asking for solutions. It is asking for stillness. Be still, not as an instruction that demands effort, but as an invitation to stop striving. Stillness does not mean your thoughts disappear instantly. It means you no longer chase them. It means you allow them to slow on their own, the way water settles when nothing stirs it. Let the noise inside you quiet itself. The noise did not come because you are weak. It came because you care. It came because you have been attentive, responsible, aware. But even the most attentive hearts need rest, and even the strongest minds need silence. I am God, and I am near, not watching from far away, not waiting for you to calm down before approaching, near enough to hear every anxious thought before it finishes forming, near enough to steady you without words. Psalm 46, be still. Meditation was spoken for moments like this. Moments when the world feels unstable and the heart feels overstimulated. Moments when the mind keeps scanning for danger, even though the body is finally lying down. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Notice the word present, not distant, not delayed, present. You are not facing this night alone. You are not facing your thoughts alone. You are not facing tomorrow alone. Refuge is not a place you must reach by effort. It is a place you enter by letting go. If your breathing feels shallow, let it be shallow. It will deepen on its own when it feels safe. If your thoughts feel loud, let them be loud. They will soften when they are no longer being resisted. Be still. Stillness is not something you create. It is something that happens when you stop interfering. The world around you may still feel uncertain. There may be things you cannot control, outcomes you cannot guarantee, questions you cannot answer tonight. But stillness does not require certainty. It requires trust. God is our refuge. That means there is a place of safety even when circumstances feel unstable. A place where your nervous system can stand down. A place where your heart does not have to brace for impact. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth give way. Fear often tells you that rest is irresponsible, that if you stop thinking, something will go wrong, that vigilance is the price of safety. But fear is not a reliable guide. You are allowed to stop watching for a moment. You are allowed to sleep. Bible verses for calm are not meant to drown out reality. They are meant to remind you that reality is larger than your fear. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God. Notice how calm is described here, not as silence alone, but as steady flow. Life continues, gently, without panic. Provision moves without force. You do not need to push peace into place. You do not need to command yourself to relax. Peace arrives when it is welcomed. Be still and know that I am God. Knowing is different from thinking. Thinking tries to solve. Knowing rests. You may not know how tomorrow will unfold. You may not know how every problem will resolve. But you can know this. You are not alone, and you are not unprotected. I am near. Nighttime often magnifies what feels unresolved. Memories surface, regrets replay, fears exaggerate. But night is not an enemy. It is a space where the soul can finally exhale. Nighttime stillness prayer is not about perfect faith. It is about honest presence. If your mind returns again to a worry, do not scold yourself. Simply notice it, then gently return to this truth. I am near. Not after you calm down, not once you stop feeling anxious. Near now. Let your body sink more fully into the surface beneath you. You are supported. You are held. You are not suspended over uncertainty. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. A fortress does not panic when storms come. It stands, it holds, it protects what is inside. You are inside care right now. You may feel tired in a way sleep has not yet touched. A tiredness that comes from constant alertness, from emotional responsibility, from carrying more than you were meant to carry alone. This tiredness is not a failure. It is a signal that it is time to be still. Be still. Let the muscles in your face relax. Let your tongue rest in your mouth. Let your brow smooth. These small shifts tell your body it is safe. Sleep with Scripture is not about staying awake to listen perfectly. It is about allowing truth to surround you as you drift. If you fall asleep and wake again, that is okay. The stillness remains. The presence remains. The night does not require your productivity. It does not need your analysis. It does not benefit from your worry. It offers rest. God is our refuge. That means even if the world feels loud tomorrow, you can return to this place again. This place of quiet trust. This place of being held without explanation. You do not need to fix tomorrow tonight. Tomorrow will have its own strength, its own grace, its own provision. Tonight is for rest. Be still. Let the noise inside you quiet itself. Notice how the silence is not empty. It is full of presence, full of care, full of attention that does not demand anything from you. I am God, and I am near, not leaving when you fall asleep, not withdrawing when your thoughts fade. Near in the quiet hours, near in the unguarded moments. If fear tries to interrupt this peace, let it pass. You do not need to confront it tonight. Fear loses power when it is not fed. Return again to stillness. The waters may roar and foam, but you are not the waters. You are the one being sheltered. Your breathing may deepen now. Your limbs may feel heavier. This is not something to resist. It is something to allow. Stillness does not mean nothing is happening. It means restoration is happening quietly. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are resting. Be still. Nothing needs to be decided. Nothing needs to be proven. Nothing needs to be fixed. I am near. Let that be enough for this moment. Stay here. Breathe. Rest. Be still. Matthew 6. Tomorrow does not need you right now. It has been waiting patiently, even while you have been carrying it too early. You have lifted it into your thoughts, turned it over again and again, tried to prepare every angle, every outcome, every possibility. But tomorrow was never meant to sit beside you in the night. Release it. Not because tomorrow is unimportant, but because it is not yours to manage in this moment. Not because your concerns are unreasonable, but because concern cannot do the work of provision. Only trust can. Your Father knows your needs before you speak them. He knows the ones you have prayed aloud. He knows the ones you have only whispered inside. He even knows the needs you have not yet been able to name, the quiet longings, the fears that sit beneath the surface, the worries you try to ignore during the day, but that return when everything grows still. Nothing about your life surprises him. Nothing about your situation is overlooked. Nothing about your future depends on how much you worry tonight. This is the heart of the Matthew 6 worry prayer. Not a denial of reality, but a reordering of trust. Do not worry about your life. Matthew 6. These words are not spoken harshly. They are not meant to scold you for feeling anxious. They are spoken gently, like a hand resting on your shoulder, reminding you that you do not have to carry everything alone. Worry often disguises itself as responsibility. It tells you that if you think hard enough, prepare long enough, stay alert enough, you can prevent pain or failure. But worry does not protect. It exhausts. Look at the birds of the air. They do not lie awake rehearsing tomorrow. They do not calculate outcomes in the dark. They rest because provision does not depend on their anxiety. You are worth more than many birds. This truth is not poetic decoration. It is a foundation for rest. If you are valued, you are cared for. If you are cared for, you are not forgotten when you sleep. Sleep is not neglect. It is trust. Trust that the world does not fall apart when you close your eyes. Trust that your worth is not measured by your vigilance. Trust that God works even when you are unaware. Christian rest is not passivity. It is participation in a deeper order, an order where provision does not begin and end with your effort. Which of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? Worry steals far more hours than it ever adds. It steals rest. It steals peace. It steals the present moment by pulling you into imagined futures. Tonight, you are invited to return to the present, to the breath you are breathing now, to the stillness surrounding you now, to the care that is active even while you rest. Jesus' night teaching was often given in quiet moments, away from crowds, when hearts were more open and defenses were lower. This teaching comes to you now in the same way, not shouted, not rushed, but offered gently. Seek first the kingdom of God. Seeking does not always mean doing more. Sometimes it means releasing what is not yours to hold. Sometimes it means choosing rest over rumination. Sometimes it means trusting that provision flows from relationship, not control. Your mind may still return to worry. That is okay. Habit does not break instantly. When it does, do not judge yourself. Simply notice it and release again. Tomorrow does not need you right now. Let your body feel the truth of that sentence. Your shoulders do not need to brace. Your jaw does not need to clench. Your breath does not need to be shallow. You can rest without fear. The do not worry Bible verses were spoken to people who faced real uncertainty, daily provision, unstable futures, limited control. They were not spoken from comfort to comfort. They were spoken into vulnerability. And still, the invitation remains. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. This does not mean tomorrow is ignored. It means tomorrow is entrusted. There will be grace for tomorrow when tomorrow arrives. There will be strength for tomorrow when tomorrow is present. There will be wisdom for tomorrow when wisdom is needed. tonight does not need to borrow tomorrow's burden. If your mind tries to pull you forward, gently return to now, to this quiet space, to this moment when nothing is required of you. You are not failing by resting. You are not falling behind. You are not neglecting responsibility. You are trusting. Your Father knows what you need. He knows the practical needs, provision, direction, stability. He knows the emotional needs, reassurance, safety, peace. He knows the spiritual needs, connection, belonging, rest. Nothing you need is hidden from him. If you have been afraid that resting means you will miss something important, hear this clearly. Nothing essential will be lost because you slept. Nothing necessary will be forgotten because you rested. Sleep without fear. Let your breathing deepen naturally. You do not need to guide it. Your body knows how to slow when it feels safe. If images of tomorrow appear, acknowledge them briefly, then let them go. They will still be there later, when you are rested and clearer. This night is not meant for solving. It is meant for restoring. Jesus teaches not to worry because worry shrinks life down to fear. Trust expands life into peace. Your value is not measured by how much you can anticipate. Your security is not built on how much you can control. Your life is held. Consider the lilies of the field. They do not strive. They do not stay awake, wondering if they will be enough. They are clothed because care is already in motion. You are not invisible. You are not overlooked. You are not on your own. Sleep is an act of faith. Faith that says, I will rest, trusting that care continues. Faith that says, I will stop striving, trusting that I am held. Faith that says, I will close my eyes, trusting that God does not close his. If fear whispers that something will go wrong if you let go, remember this. Fear does not have authority here. Trust does. Christian rest is not earned. It is received. You may feel resistance at first. That is okay. Let rest come gradually. There is no rush. You are allowed to take up space in this quiet moment. You are allowed to be cared for. You are allowed to sleep. Tomorrow does not need you right now. Release it. Your Father knows. Sleep is not neglect. It is trust. Let that truth settle deeper than your thoughts, deeper than your worries, deeper than your fears. You are safe to rest. Stay here. Breathe. Let go. Sleep without fear. John 14. I am not far away. Even in the quiet hours, even when the world feels distant and your thoughts feel close, I remain nearer than your breath. You do not have to reach for me. You do not have to call loudly. I am already here. My peace remains with you. Not the kind of peace that depends on circumstances going well. Not the kind of peace that disappears when questions rise or fears surface. This peace stays. It settles beside you, steady and patient, even when your heart has forgotten how to rest. Let your heart unclench. You may not realize how tightly it has been holding expectations, holding responsibilities, holding fears about what might happen if you stop trying so hard. Tonight, nothing needs to be held together by you. Nothing needs to be proven tonight. You do not need to prove that you are strong. You do not need to prove that your faith is steady. You do not need to prove that you deserve rest. Peace is not a reward for effort. It is a gift that remains even when effort fades. This is the promise spoken quietly in John 14. Peace, sleep, meant not for the rush of daytime, but for the vulnerability of night, when defenses lower, when thoughts wander, when the heart grows honest. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. Notice that peace is given, not achieved. You do not have to manufacture it. You do not have to convince yourself to feel it. It is placed gently into your care, and it stays even when emotions fluctuate. I do not give to you as the world gives. The world gives peace conditionally. It gives calm only when everything is in order. It gives rest only when every task is complete. But my peace is not fragile like that. It does not depend on perfection. Do not let your hearts be troubled. These words are not spoken to dismiss what troubles you. They are spoken to remind you that trouble does not get the final word. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to feel uncertain. And still, peace remains. Jesus' words for anxiety were never meant to silence emotion. They were meant to soften it, to sit with it, to remind you that you are not alone in it. You may notice your thoughts slowing as you listen, or you may notice them drifting in and out. Both are okay. Peace does not demand focus. It works quietly, even when your attention wanders. Let your breathing deepen naturally, not forced, not controlled, just allowed. Bible reading for rest is not meant to keep you awake with effort. It is meant to surround you as you drift, to be present whether you are fully aware or slowly falling asleep. I am not far away. If your mind tells you that you are alone in this moment, that is not the truth. If it tells you that peace will come later, once everything is resolved, that is not the truth. Peace is already here. Let your heart unclench. Imagine loosening your grip just a little. You do not need to drop everything at once, just enough to feel relief, just enough to let rest enter. Nothing needs to be proven tonight. You are not on trial. You are not being evaluated. You are not falling behind. This moment is not asking you to perform. It is asking you to rest. I know how anxiety tightens the chest. I know how fear keeps the mind alert long after the body is tired. I know how silence can amplify worries that were manageable during the day. And still, my peace remains. It remains when the house is quiet. It remains when thoughts return to the same concern again and again. It remains when sleep feels close but not quite there yet. This peace does not rush you. It does not demand immediate calm. It simply stays. Let not your hearts be afraid. Fear often grows when it feels alone, when it feels unseen. But fear weakens when it is met with presence. Jesus speaks at night not to overwhelm you with words, but to remind you of presence, to remind you that even in the dark, you are accompanied. If a memory surfaces, let it pass gently. If a worry returns, notice it without judgment. You do not need to argue with your thoughts tonight. You do not need to win anything. Just return to this truth again and again. I am not far away. Calming scripture audio is not about forcing the mind into silence. It is about giving the heart something steady to rest against, something that does not shift when emotions do. You may feel your body growing heavier. This is not something to resist. It is the natural response of safety. When the body senses protection, it releases its guard. Peace does not mean nothing will ever challenge you. It means you are not facing challenges alone. It means you are not responsible for holding everything together. I leave you peace. This is not temporary. This is not conditional. It is not taken back when you feel anxious again. It remains. You may drift now, or you may stay aware for a while longer. Either way, peace continues. If you wake later in the night, let these words meet you again. You do not need to restart your worries. You do not need to prepare for the day. You can simply rest again. The night does not belong to fear. It belongs to restoration. I am not far away. Feel the surface beneath you holding your weight. You are not floating in uncertainty. You are supported. Let your breathing slow further. There is no rush. Sleep arrives when it is ready. Nothing needs to be proven tonight. You do not need to show strength. You do not need to resolve doubt. You do not need to demonstrate faith. Peace remains even when effort stops. This is the gift of John 14, peace sleep. A peace that stays through silence. A peace that guards gently without force. A peace that remains when awareness fades. Stay here. Rest. Let go. I am not far away. My peace remains with you. Let your heart unclench. Sleep now, knowing that nothing essential is being neglected. Nothing necessary is being forgotten. Nothing important is at risk. Peace stays. Rest. Joshua 1. Courage does not mean you feel brave. It does not mean your heart is steady or your thoughts are quiet. It does not mean fear has disappeared or uncertainty has resolved itself. Courage, in this moment, means you are still here, listening, breathing, allowing yourself to be held, even when confidence feels far away. It means you rest, knowing I walk with you, even now, even here. You may have spent much of your life believing courage was something you had to summon, something loud, visible, proven through action. You may have thought it looked like pressing forward without hesitation, speaking without doubt, standing firm without fear. But that is not the courage spoken of in Joshua 1. That kind of courage exhausts the soul. The courage I offer tonight is quieter. It is the courage that allows you to stop striving. The courage that lets you lie down without knowing how everything will turn out. The courage that trusts companionship more than certainty. Joshua 1 courage meditation was spoken at a moment of great transition, a moment when responsibility felt heavy, when the future felt uncertain, when expectations pressed in from every side. It was not spoken to someone who felt ready. It was spoken to someone who felt the weight of what lay ahead. Be strong and courageous, not because you are capable of everything, not because you will never feel afraid, but because you will not walk alone. Fear often grows at night because the noise fades and the future feels closer. The mind begins to imagine what might be required of you tomorrow, next week, next season. It asks questions you cannot answer yet. It creates scenarios you are not meant to solve in the dark. Tonight, you are not being asked to prepare for battle. You are being invited to rest. Strength does not come only from action. It comes from renewal. It comes from stillness. It comes from allowing yourself to be accompanied rather than self-reliant. God is with you always, not only when you feel confident, not only when your faith feels strong, not only when you know what to do next. God is with you in uncertainty, in fatigue, in quiet fear that does not have words. Even now, even here, you may feel small in the face of what lies ahead. You may feel unsure whether you are enough for what tomorrow brings. But courage does not ask you to be enough on your own. It asks you to trust that you are not alone. I will be with you wherever you go. Notice how this promise does not depend on your emotional state. It does not say, I will be with you when you feel brave. It does not say, I will be with you when you succeed. It says, I will be with you. That is enough. Fear overcoming Scripture does not remove fear by force. It places fear in the presence of something stronger. Fear loses its grip not when you fight it, but when it realizes it is not alone with you anymore. If your thoughts begin to race, let them slow naturally. You do not need to control them. You do not need to silence them. Just allow them to pass through, like clouds moving across a night sky. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the presence of trust. This is why nighttime courage prayer matters, because night strips away distractions and leaves you face to face with what you have been carrying. It reveals where you have been relying on yourself alone, and it gently invites you to rely on something deeper. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed. These words are not spoken harshly. They are spoken tenderly, with awareness of how easily the heart grows weary. Dismay comes when the path ahead feels long and unclear. Fear comes when you imagine walking it alone. But you are not alone. Sacred serenity sleep is not about escaping reality. It is about resting within reality while being held by something greater than fear. If you feel your body beginning to soften, allow it. If your breathing deepens, let it deepen. Your body knows how to respond to safety. You are not required to stay alert tonight. You are not required to keep watch. You are not responsible for solving what lies ahead while you sleep. Courage tonight looks like trust. Trust that tomorrow will come with its own strength. Trust that wisdom will be given when it is needed. Trust that you are not walking toward an unknown future alone. Be strong and courageous. Strength does not always feel like energy. Sometimes it feels like permission to rest. Sometimes it feels like letting go of vigilance. Sometimes it feels like choosing sleep over worry. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let your hands rest without tension. This is not weakness. This is courage expressed through trust. The night may still feel quiet. The world may still feel uncertain. But you are not unguarded. I am with you. Even if you do not feel my presence strongly, it remains. Even if your faith feels small tonight, it is enough. Even if fear lingers at the edges, it does not rule this moment. Courage grows when you allow yourself to be accompanied. If a thought about tomorrow arises, acknowledge it gently, then release it. You do not need to carry tomorrow into this moment. You do not need to rehearse strength you have not yet been asked to use. Tomorrow will have its own grace. Tonight is for rest. Be strong and courageous. Let the words repeat softly within you, not as a demand, but as reassurance. Strength is being restored even as you rest. Courage is being formed quietly, beneath awareness. You may drift in and out of sleep as you listen. That is okay. Your soul is still receiving what it needs. Nighttime courage prayer does not require wakefulness. It works even when consciousness fades. If you wake briefly, return to this truth. God is with you always. Nothing essential has changed. You may rest again. Fear often tells you that rest is risky, that letting go means losing control. But control was never your burden to carry alone. Courage is trusting that care continues while you sleep. The path ahead may not be clear, but you do not need clarity tonight. You need rest. You need reassurance. You need to know you are not walking alone. I walk with you, even now, even here. Let your breathing slow further. Let your body feel heavier, supported by the surface beneath you. You are being held. Strength is not draining away as you rest. It is returning. Courage is not leaving you. It is settling quietly into your being. Be strong and courageous. Not tomorrow, not later, not after everything makes sense. Now, in rest, in trust. Stay here. Breathe. Sleep. I walk with you. 2 Timothy 1. Fear is not from me. It did not begin in my heart, and it does not have authority over yours. What you are feeling right now, this tightness, this unease, this quiet unrest that surfaces when the night grows still, does not define who you are. It does not describe your faith. It does not measure your strength. It does not tell the truth about your future. You are not broken because you feel afraid. You are not weak because anxiety has found its way into your thoughts. You are human, and you have been carrying more than you were meant to carry alone. I have given you peace. Peace is not the absence of noise. It is the presence of safety. It is the deep knowing that even when thoughts wander, even when emotions rise and fall, you are held. This peace is not fragile. It does not disappear when fear whispers. It stays, steady and patient, waiting for you to notice it again. I have given you love, not love that must be earned, not love that fades when you feel uncertain, a love that remains constant, especially when you feel overwhelmed. Love that does not recoil from your fear, but moves closer to it. Love that does not demand courage before it offers comfort. I have given you a sound mind, a mind that is not ruled by fear, even when fear visits, a mind capable of clarity, rest, and renewal, a mind that does not have to stay on high alert to be safe. This is the promise spoken in 2 Timothy 1. Fear, not to deny what you feel, but to gently correct what fear tries to claim. Fear tells you that something is wrong with you. Fear tells you that you are losing control. Fear tells you that rest is dangerous. But fear is not from me. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Power does not always feel loud. Often it feels like stillness. It feels like the ability to pause without panic. It feels like the strength to rest instead of rehearsing worst-case scenarios. Love does not pressure you to fix yourself before you sleep. It invites you to be as you are, tired, uncertain, needing rest. A sound mind does not mean a mind without thoughts. It means a mind that can settle, a mind that can release, a mind that does not have to answer every question tonight. Let them settle in as you sleep. You do not need to force peace to arrive. You do not need to command love to fill you. You do not need to discipline your thoughts into silence. These gifts settle gently when you allow yourself to rest. Bible for anxiety does not remove every anxious thought instantly. It creates a place where anxiety no longer rules, where fear is no longer the loudest voice in the room. Listen now, not with effort, but with openness. You are safe in this moment. Nothing is required of you except to rest. If your heart has been racing, let it slow at its own pace. If your thoughts have been looping, let them unwind gradually. You do not need to rush yourself into calm. Jesus' calm voice does not push fear away. It stays with you until fear no longer feels alone. Fear often feels strongest at night because the mind is tired and the defenses are low. The distractions fade and the worries step forward. But night is not a threat. It is an invitation to stop performing and start resting. What you are feeling does not define you. You are not your anxiety. You are not your intrusive thoughts. You are not the fears that surface when everything is quiet. You are loved. You are held. You are being restored. Let your breathing deepen naturally. No need to guide it. Your body knows how to respond to safety. Fear release at night does not happen through struggle. It happens through permission. Permission to stop watching. Permission to stop anticipating. Permission to let go. You have been alert for so long, watching for signs, preparing for outcomes, trying to stay ahead of what might go wrong. This vigilance may have helped you survive difficult moments, but it is not meant to follow you into sleep. Tonight, you are allowed to stand down. I have given you peace. Let that peace move from words into sensation, into your chest, into your shoulders, into the places that have been holding tension without you noticing. I have given you love. Let that love soften the inner voice that criticizes you for feeling afraid. Let it replace judgment with gentleness. You do not need to be harsh with yourself to be strong. I have given you a sound mind. Let your thoughts slow like leaves settling after a breeze. They may still move, but they no longer need to race. 2 Timothy 1. Fear speaks not only to belief, but to the body. It reminds your nervous system that it is safe to rest, that danger is not imminent, that you are not alone in the dark. If a sudden thought arises, do not fight it. Notice it, then let it pass. You are not required to answer it tonight. The night does not belong to fear. It belongs to restoration. You may feel yourself drifting now, or you may remain aware for a while longer. Both are okay. Peace is still settling. Love is still present. Your mind is still being renewed. Fear may try to return, whispering familiar concerns. If it does, gently remind yourself of this truth. Fear is not from me. This truth is not a weapon to fight fear. It is a light that reveals fear's limits. You are not in danger because you feel anxious. You are not failing because rest feels difficult. You are learning again how to trust. Jesus' calm voice remains, even when awareness fades, even when sleep comes slowly, even when dreams begin. If you wake briefly during the night, let this truth greet you instead of worry. Nothing has changed. You are still held. You may rest again. The world does not depend on your vigilance. Your future does not hinge on your anxiety. Your worth is not measured by how calm you feel. Peace, love, and a sound mind are already yours. Let them settle in. Feel the surface beneath you supporting your body. You are not floating in uncertainty. You are grounded. You are safe. Fear release at night is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is gentle. It happens as you stop feeding fear with attention. You do not need to prove courage. You do not need to force faith. You do not need to solve anything before you sleep. What you are feeling does not define you. I define you. You are loved. You are kept. You are at peace. Let your body rest fully now. Let your mind soften. Let your heart unclench. Fear is not from me. Peace is. Love is. A sound mind is. Sleep now, knowing that nothing essential is being neglected. Nothing necessary is being forgotten. Nothing important is at risk. Stay here. Breathe. Rest. Let them settle in as you sleep. Romans 8. Not the night. Not the quiet that feels heavy when everything else has gone still. Not the darkness outside your window, and not the silence that settles inside your thoughts. The night does not have the power to separate you from me, not your thoughts, not the ones that wander, not the ones that repeat themselves, not the ones you wish would stop coming back when you are tired and trying to rest. Your thoughts do not define your worth, and they do not create distance between us. Not your past, not the moments you replay, not the choices you regret, not the words you wish you had spoken or the paths you wish you had taken. Your past is not standing between you and my love. Not tomorrow, not the unknown future, not the responsibilities waiting for you, not the fears about what may or may not happen. Tomorrow does not have the authority to separate you from me either. Nothing separates you from my love. Let that sentence settle slowly, gently, without rushing past it. This is not a phrase meant to be heard once and forgotten. It is a truth meant to be rested in, especially now, when the night invites you to stop striving. Romans 8 sleep meditation is not about convincing yourself to feel something. It is about allowing truth to remain with you as you rest. Truth that does not change with your emotions. Truth that does not depend on how calm or anxious you feel in this moment. I know how the night can magnify doubt. I know how it can bring questions that felt manageable during the day into sharper focus. The night has a way of making you feel smaller, more alone, more exposed. But even here, especially here, nothing has changed about my love for you. There is no condemnation for those who are in me. Condemnation is the voice that tells you you are not enough, that you have failed too many times, that you should be further along by now, that rest is something you must earn. But condemnation does not come from me. It does not belong in this moment. It has no authority over your rest. God's love assurance is not fragile. It does not weaken when you are tired. It does not fade when your faith feels quiet. It does not withdraw when you struggle to sleep. My love does not stand at a distance waiting for you to improve. It surrounds you now, exactly as you are. Nothing separates you. Not trouble, not hardship, not distress or fear that rises quietly after midnight, not exhaustion that weighs heavier than words, not even the parts of yourself you do not fully understand. I see you lying there, listening, breathing. You may feel still on the outside, yet restless inside. Your body longs for rest, but your mind keeps reaching for answers. Even this tension does not push you away from me. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? This question is not asked because separation is likely. It is asked to remind you that separation is impossible. Not hardship, not pain, not loss, not the long nights where sleep comes slowly, not the quiet ache you carry without knowing how to explain it. Christian night prayer is not about asking my love to come closer. It is about remembering that it has never left. You do not need to call my love into the room. It is already here. Unconditional love scripture. Sleep is meant for moments when you are too tired to hold yourself together. Moments when you no longer have the energy to pretend you are fine. Moments when you need to know that love remains even when effort stops. My love does not depend on your performance. It does not depend on your understanding. It does not depend on how well you manage your fears. It depends on me. If your thoughts begin to wander towards self-criticism, notice them gently. You do not need to argue with them tonight. You do not need to prove them wrong. Simply return to this truth. Nothing separates you from my love. Let your breathing slow naturally. No need to control it. Your body knows how to rest when it feels safe. If a memory from the past surfaces, do not push it away harshly. Let it pass through gently, without judgment. The past does not have the power to redefine you in this moment. If a worry about tomorrow appears, acknowledge it briefly, then release it. Tomorrow will be held with the same love that holds you now. Neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers. Nothing. There is no hidden condition in that promise. No exception waiting to be discovered. No moment when love withdraws quietly. You are not one mistake away from being abandoned. You are not one restless night away from being forgotten. You are not one anxious thought away from losing what has already been given freely. This is why Romans 8 sleep meditation brings such deep comfort, because it speaks directly to the fear that love might leave when you are at your weakest. And it answers that fear clearly. Love remains. Even now, as your body grows heavier, even now, as your thoughts slow, even now, as sleep begins to approach. If sleep does not come immediately, that is okay. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is missing. Rest is not a race. It is a process. The Spirit helps you in your weakness. You do not need to be strong to be loved. You do not need to be calm to be held. You do not need to have the right words to be understood. When you do not know how to pray, you are not disconnected. You are still known. You are still heard. God's love assurance does not depend on your ability to articulate faith. It rests on His faithfulness, not yours. If fear tries to tell you that you are alone in this moment, remember this. Fear lies about distance. Love tells the truth about presence. Nothing separates you. Not the night stretching ahead, not the quiet hours where worries once grew louder, not the tiredness that makes everything feel heavier than it should. You are not outside of care. You are inside it. Let your body sink more deeply into the surface beneath you. You are supported. You are not floating in uncertainty. Christian night prayer is sometimes nothing more than resting inside truth, letting it surround you, letting it carry you when you are too tired to carry yourself. There is no height or depth that can separate you, no emotional high or low, no clarity or confusion, no confidence or doubt. Love remains the same. You may feel your thoughts beginning to blur at the edges now. That is not something to resist. It is a sign of safety. A sign that your body is responding to reassurance. Sleep may come gently, or it may come in waves. Either way, love remains. If you wake later, let this truth greet you again. Nothing has changed. Nothing has been lost. You are still held. The night does not diminish love. It reveals how steady it is. Nothing separates you from my love. Rest inside that truth. You do not need to hold yourself together. You do not need to stay alert. You do not need to keep watch. Love is watching over you now. Stay here. Breathe. Rest. Nothing separates you. Psalm 56. When fear whispers, speak trust instead. Fear rarely arrives shouting. It comes softly, slipping into the quiet spaces of the night when the world has gone still and your defenses have grown tired. It speaks in questions rather than statements, in possibilities rather than facts. What if something goes wrong? What if you cannot handle what comes next? What if rest makes you vulnerable? You do not have to win this moment. You do not have to silence fear completely. You do not have to overpower it with effort or argument. You are invited to do something far gentler. Just rest through it. This is the heart of Psalm 56, fear prayer, spoken for moments exactly like this. Moments when fear feels close, personal, persistent. Moments when trust does not feel loud or confident, but quiet and fragile. Trust is not the absence of fear. Trust is choosing where to rest while fear is still present. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. Notice how honest these words are. They do not say, I am never afraid. They do not pretend courage where there is none. They acknowledge fear without letting it decide the outcome. You are allowed to admit fear tonight. You are allowed to notice it without shame. Fear does not disqualify you from peace. It invites you into trust. Fear often grows stronger at night because the body is tired and the mind has fewer distractions. The noise of the day fades, and what was held at bay begins to surface. Memories, worries, unfinished conversations, imagined futures. They gather quietly, asking for attention. But fear does not require your attention to pass. It requires rest. Trusting God at night does not mean you suddenly feel confident. It means you stop fighting the moment and allow yourself to be held within it. I know how fear tightens your chest. I know how it shortens your breath. I know how it keeps your mind alert when your body longs for sleep. But fear is not in control here. In God, whose word I praise, In God I trust. I shall not be afraid. Trust is not a feeling you must generate. It is a direction you turn, a place you lean, a decision to rest rather than react. If your thoughts begin to race, let them race without chasing them. You do not need to catch every thought. You do not need to answer every question fear asks. You are safe to rest. Anxiety Bible verses are not meant to overwhelm you with information. They are meant to anchor you when your thoughts feel unsteady, to remind you that fear does not get the final word, especially in the quiet hours of the night. What can mere mortals do to me? Fear often exaggerates threats. It imagines outcomes without evidence. It turns uncertainty into danger. But fear forgets something important. You are not facing this night alone. Even now, as you lie still, you are being watched over. Even now, as your thoughts wander, you are being held. Even now, as fear whispers, trust is available. Sleep through fear, not by pretending fear is not there, not by forcing yourself to feel calm, but by allowing rest to come anyway. Rest is an act of trust. It says, I will stop trying to control what I cannot. It says, I will stop rehearsing outcomes that are not mine to decide. It says, I will place this moment in hands stronger than my own. When fear whispers, speak trust instead. You do not have to say it aloud. You do not have to form perfect words. Trust can be as simple as a breath that deepens without effort, as simple as a shoulder that loosens, as simple as allowing your eyes to close, even when your mind feels unsure. Psalm 56, Fear, Prayer, was written by someone who knew fear intimately. Not abstract fear, real fear, fear of danger, fear of being pursued, fear of not knowing how the story would end. And yet, trust was chosen in the middle of fear, not after it disappeared. This is important. You do not need to wait until fear leaves to rest. You rest so fear can lose its grip. If a sudden thought interrupts this calm, do not be alarmed. That is simply habit. Fear has learned to show up at night because it has been listened to before. Tonight, you are teaching it something new. You are teaching it that rest is possible, even in uncertainty. Scripture for nighttime worry does not demand that worry vanish instantly. It offers something stronger: presence, reassurance, steadiness. My tears are in your bottle. Nothing you have felt tonight has been ignored. No anxious moment has been wasted. No restless thought has gone unseen. Your fear has been noticed, not judged. This matters because fear often feels isolating. It tells you that you are alone in your struggle, that no one understands the weight you carry. But you are not alone. Your fear has been seen. Your trust is known. Your rest is protected. Trusting God at night means allowing yourself to stop proving strength. It means allowing yourself to be human, to be tired, to be unsure, to be held anyway. If your breathing feels shallow, let it be shallow. It will deepen naturally as your body senses safety. If your thoughts keep returning to the same worry, let them return without engaging. They will lose energy when they are no longer fed. You do not have to win this moment. This moment is not a battle. It is not a test. It is not asking you to demonstrate courage. It is offering you rest. Fear loses power when it is no longer resisted, when it is no longer argued with, when it is simply allowed to exist without control. Just rest through it. Let the surface beneath you support your weight. You do not need to hold yourself up. You do not need to stay alert. You may notice your body growing heavier. This is not something to resist. It is the natural response of safety. When the body realizes it does not need to stay on guard, it releases. Sleep through fear. Let sleep come, even if fear has not fully left. Fear does not get to decide whether you rest. Trust does. In God I trust. I shall not be afraid. This does not mean fear never returns. It means fear no longer defines the moment. It means fear is no longer in charge. If you wake briefly later in the night, return to this truth gently. You do not need to start over. You do not need to analyze why you woke. Simply rest again. Scripture for nighttime worry works quietly. It seeps beneath awareness. It reassures even when you are not consciously listening. You may drift now, or you may linger on the edge of sleep. Either way, trust remains. Fear may whisper again. If it does, answer softly, not with argument, but with rest. I trust you. That is enough. You are not required to feel brave. You are not required to feel certain. You are not required to feel calm. You are invited to rest. The night does not belong to fear. It belongs to restoration. It belongs to trust growing quietly beneath consciousness. When fear whispers, speak trust instead. Let your breathing slow further. Let your muscles soften. Let your mind release its grip. You do not have to win this moment. Just rest through it. Sleep through fear, knowing that nothing essential is being neglected. Nothing necessary is being forgotten. Nothing important is at risk. You are safe to rest. Stay here. Breathe. Let go. Trust remains even as you sleep. Isaiah 26. Perfect peace does not rush. It does not arrive in a hurry or demand that you change how you feel all at once. It does not force silence into your thoughts or insist that fear disappear before it enters. Perfect peace settles slowly, the way sleep does, quietly, patiently, without argument. You may still feel awake inside, even as your body lies still. Your mind may still wander, touching one thought and then another. That does not mean peace is absent. It means peace is arriving gently, giving you time to trust it. Let your mind rest on me. Rest is not something you accomplish. It is something you allow. Just as sleep cannot be forced, peace cannot be commanded. Both come when you stop resisting and let yourself be held. Isaiah 26. Perfect peace is not a promise made only for moments of confidence. It is a promise spoken into uncertainty, into waiting, into the quiet hours when questions feel closer than answers. It speaks to the part of you that wants calm, but does not know how to reach it. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are stayed on you. Notice what this does not say. It does not say a mind that never wanders. It does not say a mind that never worries. It says a mind that stays, returns, rests again. Your mind does not need to be perfectly still. It only needs a place to rest. Mind stayed on God does not mean constant focus. It means gentle returning. When a thought drifts, you return. When worry interrupts, you return. When fear whispers, you return again. And each return is an act of trust. Perfect peace is not fragile. It does not shatter when you feel anxious again. It does not leave when your thoughts scatter. It remains steady, waiting for you to notice it once more. Bible sleep meditation is not about achieving emptiness. It is about being filled with reassurance, being reminded again and again that you are not alone in this quiet moment. Let your mind rest on me. You may not know how long it has been since your mind truly rested, not distracted, not numbed, not occupied, but rested. The mind grows tired from constant scanning, from watching for danger, from replaying conversations, from imagining futures that have not yet arrived. Tonight, your mind is allowed to stop searching. You do not need to solve anything in this moment. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to prepare for tomorrow. Perfect peace settles when striving ends. Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord God is an everlasting rock. A rock does not rush. It does not panic when storms come. It remains. You are resting against something steady tonight, something that does not shift with your emotions, something that does not weaken when you feel tired. Deep rest with Jesus does not feel dramatic. It feels safe. It feels quiet. It feels like nothing urgent is required of you. If your breathing feels shallow, let it be shallow. It will deepen naturally as your body senses safety. If your thoughts keep circling, let them circle without engagement. They will slow when they are no longer chased. Perfect peace does not demand attention. It does not insist you notice the moment it arrives. It simply stays. Sacred Serenity night is not about escaping your life. It is about resting within it, knowing you are held. You may notice your body growing heavier now. Your limbs feel supported. Your jaw loosens. Your shoulders sink. These are not signs you are losing control. They are signs you are safe. Let your mind rest on me. If a memory surfaces, acknowledge it gently and let it pass. If a worry appears, notice it without judgment and release it. You do not need to fight your thoughts. You do not need to silence them. You are not failing at rest because thoughts arise. You are learning how to return. Perfect peace is not the absence of noise. It is the presence of trust beneath the noise. Your mind may still hear echoes of the day, conversations, concerns, unfinished tasks. That is normal. The mind takes time to unwind. Give it permission. Peace that settles slowly lasts longer than peace that rushes in. The night is not asking you to be productive. It is not asking you to be insightful. It is not asking you to be strong. It is offering you rest. Let your breathing find its own rhythm. There is nothing you need to control. Your body knows how to sleep. Your soul knows how to rest. Perfect peace is not something you chase. It is something you allow to surround you. If sleep comes quickly, let it come. If sleep comes slowly, let it come slowly. Nothing is wrong either way. The Lord is an everlasting rock. That means nothing collapses because you rest. Nothing essential is lost because you sleep. Nothing important is neglected because you let go. Mind stayed on God is a posture of trust, not effort. It is leaning, not holding. It is resting, not striving. You may drift now, or you may linger on the edge of awareness. Both are okay. Peace remains either way. If you wake later in the night, let this truth meet you again. Perfect peace does not disappear when consciousness fades. It remains, steady and near. The world may feel uncertain tomorrow, but tomorrow will come with its own grace. Tonight is not meant for preparation. Tonight is for rest. Isaiah 26. Perfect peace is not rushed. It settles slowly, like sleep. Let your mind rest on me. You do not need to guard yourself. You do not need to watch for danger. You do not need to stay alert. Peace is guarding you now. Sacred Serenity night is a place where nothing is demanded of you, where effort ends, where trust begins. Let your body sink fully into rest. Let your thoughts soften at the edges. Let awareness fade when it is ready. Perfect peace is not fragile. It does not break when you sleep. It stays. Rest here. Breathe. Let go. Perfect peace settles, quietly, steadily, completely. Sleep now, knowing you are held. Let your mind rest on me. Psalm 34. You are heard. Not only the words you have spoken aloud, but the ones you swallowed. Not only the prayers you managed to form, but the ones that stayed as feelings without language. Even now, as your body lies still and your thoughts begin to blur, I hear you. Even when words fade, I hear your heart. There are nights when language feels heavy, when explaining feels exhausting, when you no longer know how to say what hurts, or you are simply too tired to try. Those nights do not silence you, they bring you closer. Psalm 34 prayer was never meant only for voices raised in daylight. It was written for moments like this, when the heart speaks quietly, when breath replaces words, when the soul reaches without knowing how. I hear the sigh you release without realizing it. I hear the ache you carry behind calm expressions. I hear the questions you have stopped asking because they felt unanswered for too long. The Lord is near to the broken-hearted. Broken-hearted does not always mean dramatic sorrow. Sometimes it means worn down. Sometimes it means disappointed. Sometimes it means quietly holding together what once felt whole. I am near to all of it. You do not need to explain yourself to be heard. You do not need the right words. You do not need to sound faithful, strong, or composed. I hear your heart. This is comfort scripture not because it removes pain instantly, but because it assures you that pain is not ignored. Nothing you have felt tonight has gone unnoticed. Nothing you have carried has been invisible. Jesus listening at night is not a distant idea. It is a presence that remains when the house is quiet, when the lights are low, when the world has stopped asking things of you. You may feel tired in a way sleep has not yet touched, a tiredness that comes from holding emotions without release, from being the strong one, from being the understanding one, from being the one who keeps going even when the heart is heavy. I hear that. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. Crying does not always come with tears. Sometimes it comes as restlessness, sometimes as silence, sometimes as a mind that cannot settle because it has been listening too long without being answered. But you have been heard, even when words fade. You are safe to sleep now. Safety does not come from having everything resolved. It comes from knowing you are not alone with what remains unresolved. It comes from being known. God hears the brokenhearted not because they are weak, but because they are honest, because they no longer hide their need, because they allow themselves to be seen. Tonight, you are seen. You do not need to keep rehearsing your worries so they are not forgotten. You do not need to stay alert so nothing slips by unnoticed. You do not need to hold your breath in case something changes. I hear you. Let your breathing deepen gently, not forced, not controlled, just allowed. Your body knows how to rest when it feels safe. Your soul knows how to settle when it knows it has been heard. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. Deliverance does not always look immediate. Sometimes it looks like rest in the middle of uncertainty. Sometimes it looks like peace arriving before answers do. Sometimes it looks like sleep coming, even though fear once said it could not. This is the kind of deliverance the night offers. Comfort scripture works quietly. It does not argue with your pain. It sits beside it and says, "You are not alone." If your thoughts wander back to something that hurts, let them return without judgment. You are not failing at rest. You are processing in safety. Jesus listening at night means you do not have to carry everything into sleep. You can set it down here. You can let the silence hold it. I hear your heart when it beats a little faster. I hear your mind when it circles the same thought again. I hear your weariness even when you cannot name it. You are not ignored. You are not forgotten. You are not a burden. The Lord is close to you right now, closer than your worries, closer than your memories, closer than the fear that once told you no one was listening. If tears come, let them come. If they do not, that is okay too. Both are heard. Your rest does not depend on your ability to explain yourself. It depends on trust, and trust grows when you realize you have already been heard. You are safe to sleep now. The night does not need your vigilance. It does not need your explanations. It does not need your strength. It offers quiet. It offers stillness. It offers restoration. The Lord hears and saves. Saving does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like the loosening of tension you did not realize you were holding. Sometimes it feels like breath finally flowing freely. Sometimes it feels like sleep arriving gently instead of being chased. You are not alone with your thoughts. You are not alone with your pain. You are not alone with your heart. Psalm 34 prayer reminds you of this truth when words are few and energy is low. I hear you, even now as your awareness begins to soften, even now as your thoughts blur at the edges, even now as rest draws closer. If you wake later in the night, let this truth greet you instead of worry. Nothing has changed. You are still heard. You are still held. The Lord watches over those who rest in Him. You do not need to guard yourself. You do not need to stay alert. You do not need to keep explaining your pain. You are safe to sleep now. Let your body sink into the surface beneath you. You are supported. You are not floating in uncertainty. Let your breathing slow further. Let your mind release its grip. Let your heart rest without defense. I hear you, and because you are heard, you may rest. Stay here. Breathe. Sleep. You are safe. Deuteronomy 31. Even in silence, I remain. Not only when prayers are spoken clearly, not only when words come easily, but even when the night feels wordless and still. Silence does not mean absence. Silence is often where my presence rests most gently. Even in sleep, I stay. You do not drift beyond my care when your eyes close. You do not slip into forgetting. You do not become unguarded or overlooked. Sleep does not separate you from me. It places you more deeply into my keeping. You are never abandoned. These words are not meant to comfort you only when you are awake and strong. They are meant to hold you when your strength has run thin, when your thoughts have slowed, when the quiet feels heavier than usual. This is the promise of Deuteronomy 31, God with you, spoken not into ease, but into transition, uncertainty, and nights like this one. There are moments when silence feels peaceful, and there are moments when silence feels lonely, when the world stops speaking, and the heart wonders if anyone is still listening. But silence has never meant distance to me. Even in silence, I remain. I know how easily the mind can interpret quiet as absence, how quickly the heart can assume that because nothing is happening, something has been lost. But presence does not need noise to exist. Love does not require constant reassurance to remain. I am here. I will never leave you, nor forsake you. This is not a promise with conditions. It does not depend on how you feel tonight. It does not depend on how strong your faith seems. It does not depend on how well you sleep. Never forsaken Scripture speaks to the deepest fear of the human heart, the fear of being left behind, forgotten, or replaced when you are no longer useful or strong. That fear does not come from me. You have not been left because you are tired. You have not been forsaken because you are quiet. You have not been forgotten because you stopped trying to hold everything together. Even now, I remain. Night devotion is not about filling silence with effort. It is about discovering that silence is already filled with presence. You may feel the quiet pressing in around you. The hum of the day has faded. The world has grown distant. Your thoughts may wander, searching for reassurance, searching for something familiar to hold on to. You do not need to search. I am with you, not watching from afar, not waiting for you to wake, with you. When Moses spoke these words, they were spoken to people facing an unknown future, crossing boundaries, letting go of what was familiar, stepping into something new without guarantees. And the reassurance was not that the path would be easy. It was that they would not walk it alone. The same is true for you tonight. You may be standing at the edge of something uncertain in your life, a decision not yet made, a season not yet understood, a burden you are unsure how to carry forward. But tonight is not asking you to move forward. It is asking you to rest. Sleep knowing God stays. Sleep knowing that nothing essential depends on your vigilance. Sleep knowing that the one who keeps you does not rest or grow tired. Sleep knowing that presence does not withdraw when consciousness fades. I remain when your thoughts slow. I remain when your breath deepens. I remain when dreams begin. You do not need to keep watch. You do not need to stay alert. You do not need to hold on to fear as protection. I will not leave you. If you have ever felt abandoned before, by people who promised to stay, by circumstances that changed suddenly, by seasons that ended without closure, those experiences may have taught your heart to stay guarded, but those experiences do not define how I love you. Human presence can fail. Human promises can break. But my presence does not depend on convenience or conditions. Never forsaken scripture was spoken to steady, trembling hearts, to remind them that the ground beneath them was not as fragile as it felt. That ground still holds. You are not drifting through this night alone. You are not unprotected in the quiet hours. You are not unseen while you sleep. Even in sleep, I stay. Sleep is not a gap in care. It is a place where care continues without your effort. It is where you stop holding yourself together and allow yourself to be held. If your mind resists rest, that is okay. If it keeps returning to the same thought, the same worry, the same unanswered question, do not be discouraged. This does not mean you are failing at rest. It means your heart is learning to trust a new kind of safety. Night devotion is not measured by how peaceful you feel immediately. It is measured by how willing you are to stay in the presence that does not leave. I am with you. Even now, when your thoughts soften at the edges. Even now, when awareness begins to blur. Even now, when sleep feels close, but not quite here yet. Do not be afraid or discouraged. Fear often whispers that being alone in the dark means being unprotected. But darkness does not weaken my presence. It reveals how steady it is. If you wake later in the night, let this truth meet you again. You do not need to analyze why you woke. You do not need to prepare for the day ahead. You may simply rest again. Sleep knowing God stays. There is no moment where you slip beyond my care. There is no second where attention fades. There is no hour of the night that goes unguarded. You may feel your body growing heavier now, your limbs resting more fully, your breath slowing without effort. This is not something you need to manage. It is something you are allowed to receive. I will not leave you, even if your thoughts wander, even if doubts surface, even if fear tries to speak again. presence does not withdraw because of fear. Love does not step back because of uncertainty. I remain. You are not abandoned when you stop trying. You are not abandoned when you rest. You are not abandoned when you sleep. You are never abandoned. Let the surface beneath you support your weight. You do not need to brace. You do not need to stay alert. Your safety does not depend on your awareness. It depends on my faithfulness. Never forsaken scripture is not meant to be repeated quickly. It is meant to be lived slowly, felt deeply, trusted over time. This night is one more opportunity to trust. You may have learned to associate silence with loss, but tonight, silence is simply space. Space where nothing is demanded, space where nothing is taken from you. Even in silence, I remain. You may have learned to associate sleep with vulnerability, but tonight, sleep is simply rest, a place where care does not stop working. Even in sleep, I stay. Your life is not paused when you rest, it is being sustained. If fear tells you that something will go wrong if you let go, hear this gently. Nothing essential will be lost because you slept. Nothing necessary will be forgotten. Nothing important will slip away. I am with you. Deuteronomy 31. God with you is not a promise for daylight only. It is a promise for nights like this, quiet, uncertain, tender. Let your mind stop searching for reassurance. Let your heart stop bracing for absence. Let your body rest fully. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. Sleep knowing God stays. Stay here. Breathe. Let go. Even in silence, I remain. Even in sleep, I stay. You are never abandoned. Psalm 62. Your soul was made to rest in me, not to strain, not to brace itself against what might come next, not to replay the day or anticipate tomorrow. Your soul was not created for endless effort. It was created for rest, not strive, not worry, just rest. This is the quiet truth at the heart of Psalm 62 sleep, spoken not to hurried minds, but to weary souls who have carried too much for too long. Rest is not a luxury for when everything is finished. Rest is the place where strength is restored, where clarity returns, where the soul remembers who holds it. Truly my soul finds rest in God. Notice the word finds. Rest is not forced. It is discovered. It appears when you stop searching elsewhere for safety, approval, or control. It appears when striving loosens its grip and trust quietly takes its place. You may not have realized how much effort your soul has been making. Effort to stay composed, effort to be strong, effort to keep everything from falling apart. Even now, lying still, part of you may feel like it should be doing something, thinking, planning, watching. But your soul does not need another task. It needs rest. Rest in God meditation is not about emptying yourself of thought. It is about returning to where your soul belongs. Like coming home after a long journey without realizing how tired you were until you finally sit down. My salvation comes from Him. Salvation here is not only rescue from danger, it is relief from burden. It is the release of responsibility you were never meant to carry alone. It is the assurance that you do not have to hold everything together for life to continue. Your soul can stop striving now. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I will never be shaken. A fortress does not rush. It does not panic. It does not collapse because the night has arrived. It stands, steady and unmoved, protecting what is inside. You are inside that care right now. If your thoughts begin to wander, that is not a failure. Thoughts wander when the mind is tired. Let them drift without following them. You do not need to solve anything tonight. Peaceful Bible audio is meant for moments like this, when the body needs permission to slow and the soul needs reassurance that rest is safe. You are not falling behind by resting. You are returning to balance. How long will you assault me? This question from Psalm 62 speaks to the pressure the soul feels when it is constantly under demand. Demands from circumstances, demands from expectations, demands from inner voices that say you must always be alert. But those demands do not get to decide this moment. My soul finds rest in God alone. Alone does not mean isolated, it means undivided. It means rest that does not depend on circumstances improving first. Rest that does not wait for answers. Rest that is not fragile. Your soul was never meant to rest in achievement, in approval, or in certainty. Those things shift too easily. They require constant maintenance. Rest in me remains. Soul rest, scripture night, speaks to the deeper exhaustion that sleep alone does not always fix. The exhaustion of carrying emotional weight, of staying strong when you wanted to fall apart, of being responsible when you needed someone else to take over. Tonight, you are allowed to stop carrying. Trust in Him at all times, O people. Pour out your hearts to Him. Pouring out does not always look like words. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like a breath that finally deepens. Sometimes it looks like letting go of the tension you did not realize you were holding. You do not need to explain everything to be heard. You do not need to articulate your fatigue to be understood. I know your soul. I know where it has been striving. I know where it has been worried. I know where it has forgotten how to rest. Tonight, it remembers. Let your shoulders drop slightly. Let your jaw loosen. Let your breath move freely. These are small signals that tell your body it is safe. Your soul finds rest here, not because everything is resolved, not because life suddenly makes sense, but because rest does not depend on resolution. It depends on trust. Do not trust in oppression or put vain hope in stolen goods. The soul grows tired when it places its hope in things that cannot hold it. Outcomes, people's opinions, control over the future, these require constant vigilance. Rest comes when hope returns to its rightful place. God is a refuge for us. Refuge is not a reward, it is a shelter, a place you enter when the storm has been loud enough and long enough. You are in that refuge now. Peaceful Bible audio does not rush you into sleep. It walks with you toward it, slowly, patiently, allowing your system to unwind at its own pace. You may feel your body growing heavier. This is not something to resist. It is the natural response of safety. When the body senses refuge, it releases its guard. Your soul was made to rest in me, not to analyze the night, not to monitor the future, not to replay the past. Just rest. If fear whispers that rest is dangerous, remember this. Striving did not keep you safe. Worry did not protect you. Control did not bring peace. Rest restores. Find rest, O my soul, in God alone. Notice how the psalm speaks directly to the soul, not the circumstances. The circumstances may remain unchanged for now, but the soul does not have to mirror their tension. Your soul can rest even when the world feels uncertain. This is not denial, it is wisdom. Soul Rest Scripture Night is a reminder that you are more than your responsibilities, more than your fears, more than your thoughts. You are a soul made for rest. If sleep comes now, let it come. If it comes later, let it come later. There is no rush. Nothing is being measured. Your role tonight is not to achieve rest. It is to allow it. The night does not need your vigilance. It does not need your strength. It does not need your worry. It offers stillness. Those of low estate are but a breath. Those of high estate are a delusion. Everything the world tells you is urgent loses its weight in the quiet hours. What remains is what matters most. Trust, presence, rest. Power belongs to God, and loving kindness is yours, O Lord. Power that does not demand effort from you. Love that does not withdraw when you stop trying. This is where your soul rests. If you wake later in the night, return here. Not by thinking, by resting again. You do not need to start over. Nothing has been lost. Psalm 62. Sleep is not a single moment. It is a posture your soul learns slowly, night after night, breath after breath. Your soul was made to rest in me. Let that truth sink deeper than thought, deeper than fear, deeper than habit. Not strive, not worry. Just rest. Stay here. Breathe. Let go. Your soul finds rest now. 1 Peter 5. Place your burdens here. Not tomorrow, not after you have sorted them out, not once you feel calmer or more confident. Here, now. You have been carrying so much longer than you realize. Some of it is obvious, the responsibilities, the expectations, the decisions waiting for you. Some of it is quieter, the unspoken worries, the emotional weight, the constant sense that you must stay alert so nothing falls apart. Even lying still, your mind may feel heavy, as if it is holding bags it cannot put down on its own. Place your burdens here. This is not a test of faith. It is an invitation to rest. The words of "cast your cares," Scripture, were never meant to be read quickly or treated lightly. They were spoken to tired hearts, to people who had reached the edge of their own strength and realized they could not carry everything alone. Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. Casting is not careful placement. It is release. It is letting go without needing to manage where things land. It is trusting that what you release will be held more securely than you could ever hold it yourself. You do not need these burdens in your dreams. Dreams are meant to restore, not rehearse. Sleep is meant to heal, not to continue the work of worry. Your mind may have grown used to carrying concerns into the night, replaying scenarios, preparing for outcomes that have not arrived yet. But those habits do not belong here. Tonight, you are allowed to stop watching. I care for you deeply, not vaguely, not conditionally, not from a distance, deeply. This care does not depend on how well you explain your worries. It does not depend on how reasonable your fears seem. It does not depend on whether you feel strong or fragile right now. Care exists because you exist. Anxiety relief Bible verses are not meant to silence you. They are meant to hold you, to create a place where fear does not have to be fought, because it is no longer alone with you. You may notice resistance when you try to let go. Part of you may think, if I release this, who will take care of it? That question comes from a heart that has learned to survive by staying alert. It comes from experience, not from failure. But vigilance is not the same as care. You have been vigilant for a long time, watching for changes in tone, watching for signs of trouble, watching for moments when you might need to step in and fix something. This vigilance may have helped you endure difficult seasons, but it is not meant to follow you into sleep. Cast your cares, not because they are unimportant, but because they are too heavy for you to carry alone. Christian sleep aid is not about distraction. It is about trust. Trust that care continues when you stop striving. Trust that nothing essential is lost when you rest. I care for you deeply. That means nothing you place here will be ignored. Nothing you release will be mishandled. Nothing you let go of will be forgotten. You are not burdening me with your burdens. You are giving them back to where they belong. If your thoughts begin to list everything that still feels unresolved, notice the list without engaging. You do not need to complete it. You do not need to solve it. You do not need to remember it perfectly. Place your burdens here. Let your shoulders relax slightly. Let your jaw loosen. Let your hands rest without tension. These small movements tell your body that it is safe to stop holding. Jesus carries your worries not as an idea, but as a reality. You are not setting them down into emptiness. You are placing them into care that does not tire, does not forget, does not overlook details. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand. Humility here does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means recognizing that you were never meant to carry everything alone. It means allowing yourself to be supported. There is strength in release. Night has a way of amplifying worry. The world grows quiet, and the mind fills the space. Concerns that felt manageable during the day can suddenly feel overwhelming. But night is not a trap. It is an opportunity to practice trust. Cast your cares. If a worry returns after you release it, do not be discouraged. Habit brings things back. When it does, release again. There is no limit. There is no impatience here. I care for you deeply. This care does not fluctuate with your emotions. It does not withdraw when you feel anxious again. It remains steady, especially when you feel tired. Be alert and of sober mind. Alertness here does not mean staying anxious. It means staying grounded in truth. Truth that says, worry does not get to decide your rest. Truth that says, vigilance is not your only option. You may feel your body growing heavier now. This is not something to resist. It is the natural response of safety. When the body senses that it does not need to stay on guard, it releases its grip. You do not need these burdens in your dreams. Dreams are not meant to be filled with worry. They are meant to be filled with restoration. Even if dreams come and go, even if sleep arrives slowly, care does not stop working. Anxiety relief Bible verses work quietly. They do not demand focus. They seep into the spaces beneath thought, where the nervous system learns again how to rest. Jesus carries your worries even when you are not thinking about them, even when awareness fades, even when sleep deepens. Resist the devil, standing firm in the faith. Standing firm does not always look like action. Sometimes it looks like rest. Sometimes it looks like refusing to let fear dictate the night. Sometimes it looks like trusting that you are not alone. Your resistance tonight is not in staying awake. It is in letting go. After you have suffered a little while, he will restore you. Restoration often begins before circumstances change. It begins in the quiet hours, when effort stops and trust takes its place. It begins when the body is allowed to sleep without fear of neglect. You may not feel restored instantly. That is okay. Restoration is a process, not a moment. Cast your cares. Let your breathing slow naturally. You do not need to guide it. Your body knows how to respond to safety. If your mind tries to pick a worry back up, gently remind yourself, I do not need this right now. It has been placed where it belongs. Christian sleep aid is not about escaping responsibility. It is about placing responsibility in the right hands. You have done enough for today. You have carried enough. You have tried hard enough. Now you may rest. I care for you deeply. That care does not fade with the night. It does not weaken when you sleep. It does not pause when you stop paying attention. It remains. If you wake later and feel a familiar worry rise, do not panic. Nothing has gone wrong. Simply place it here again. You are allowed to rest more than once. The night does not require your vigilance. It does not require your strength. It does not require your worry. It offers rest. Cast your cares. You may not feel them leave all at once. That is okay. Release happens gradually, the way sleep does. Jesus carries your worries now. Let that truth settle deeper than thought, deeper than habit, deeper than fear. You do not need to hold anything else tonight. Place your burdens here. You do not need them in your dreams. I care for you deeply. Stay here. Breathe. Let go. Sleep now, knowing that nothing essential is being neglected. Nothing necessary is being forgotten. Nothing important is at risk. Your cares are held. You are free to rest. Proverbs 3. Trust is not effort. It is not something you force into place by thinking harder or holding tighter. Trust is release. It is the quiet decision to stop gripping what you were never meant to carry alone. Lean gently. You do not need to fall forward in fear. You do not need to brace yourself as if something will give way. Lean gently, knowing there is strength beneath you. I will hold you. Proverbs 3. Trusting the Lord was never meant to be rushed past in daylight and forgotten at night. It was written for moments like this, when the body is tired, when the mind has been working too long, when the heart needs reassurance more than instruction. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Notice how trust is connected to the heart, not the intellect. The heart grows tired from constant effort, from trying to predict outcomes, from replaying decisions, from carrying responsibility without rest. Tonight, your heart does not need more information. It needs rest. Lean not on your own understanding. Understanding tries to control. It tries to solve. It tries to stay one step ahead of uncertainty. But understanding grows weary at night, and it often turns against you, replaying worries instead of resolving them. You do not have to understand everything to rest. You do not have to see the whole path to be safe. Christian meditation for rest is not about mastering stillness. It is about allowing yourself to stop striving for answers long enough to be held. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight. Acknowledging is not explaining. It is not listing every concern. It is simply remembering who is with you. You are not navigating this night alone. You are not responsible for holding the future together while you sleep. You are not required to keep watch. Faith at night looks different than faith in daylight. It is quieter, less performative, more honest. It looks like leaning instead of standing. Trust is not effort. If it feels exhausting, it is not trust. Trust feels like relief, like a breath finally deepening, like shoulders lowering without you noticing the moment they did. It is release. Release of control, release of the need to predict, release of the pressure to be ready for everything. Lean gently. You may notice resistance inside you. A part of you may say, if I let go, something will go wrong. That part learned vigilance because it had to survive something difficult. It is not foolish. It is tired. But vigilance is not the same as trust. Vigilance says, I must stay alert or I will not be safe. Trust says, I am safe even when I rest. I will hold you. Holding does not mean watching from a distance. It means supporting your weight fully. It means you do not have to keep yourself upright. It means you are not suspended over uncertainty. Sleep surrender prayer begins right here, not with words, but with posture, with allowing yourself to lean. If your thoughts begin to wander, let them wander without following them. You do not need to catch every thought. You do not need to answer every question. You are allowed to stop trying. Trusting the Lord with all your heart. All does not mean perfect. It means honest. It means bringing what you have, not what you wish you had. If your heart feels tired, bring that. If your faith feels quiet, bring that. If your confidence feels thin, bring that. Lean gently. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Wisdom here is not intelligence. It is humility, the recognition that rest is not failure, that letting go is not weakness, that sleep is not neglect. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. Turning away tonight does not mean dramatic action. It means turning away from self-condemnation, turning away from the belief that you must hold everything together alone, turning away from the lie that rest is dangerous. This will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. Notice how rest is described as healing, not indulgence, not laziness, healing. Your body has been holding tension longer than you realize. Your muscles may still feel tight. Your jaw may still clench without you noticing. Your breathing may have stayed shallow out of habit. Healing begins when trust replaces effort. Peace does not rush. Rest does not demand. Sleep does not need to be earned. Lean gently. If your mind tries to measure whether you are resting well enough, let that thought pass. There is no score here. There is no standard to meet. Faith at night is not about getting it right. It is about being willing to stop striving. I will hold you, even if your thoughts keep returning, even if worries still whisper, even if sleep feels close but not quite here yet. Holding does not depend on your awareness. It does not weaken when you drift. It does not withdraw when you sleep. Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produce. Honor here is not transaction. It is trust. It is recognizing that provision does not come from anxiety, that safety does not come from overthinking, that life is sustained by something deeper than effort. Christian meditation for rest teaches the body what the heart already knows, that it is safe to lean, that it is allowed to stop. Do not despise the Lord's discipline. Discipline here is not punishment. It is guidance. It is being led away from habits that exhaust you and toward rhythms that restore you. One of those rhythms is rest. One of those rhythms is sleep. Sleep surrender prayer is not spoken once and finished. It is practiced gently, night after night, breath after breath. Lean gently. You may feel your body growing heavier now, your limbs resting more fully, your breathing slowing without effort. This is not something you need to control. It is something you are allowed to receive. I will hold you. You are not falling. You are being supported. The night does not need your vigilance. It does not require your planning. It does not benefit from your worry. It offers restoration. Proverbs 3. Trust in the Lord is not a command shouted from a distance. It is an invitation whispered in the quiet. If fear tells you that letting go means losing control, remember this. Control never gave you peace. Trust does. If anxiety tells you that rest is irresponsible, remember this. Rest is obedience to how you were made. Your soul was not designed for endless effort. It was designed for trust. Lean gently. If sleep comes now, let it come. If it comes slowly, let it come slowly. Nothing is wrong either way. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are resting. I will hold you. Even now, as awareness softens, even now, as thoughts blur at the edges, even now, as the night deepens. Trust is not effort, it is release. Release the need to manage everything. Release the pressure to understand. Release the fear of letting go. Lean gently. You may wake later in the night. If you do, You have not lost anything. You have not failed at rest. Simply lean again. Sleep surrender prayer works quietly. It settles beneath awareness. It teaches the body what safety feels like. Faith at night does not need words. It needs permission. Permission to stop. Permission to rest. Permission to be held. I will hold you. This holding does not end when you sleep. It does not weaken when dreams begin. It does not fade when the night grows deeper. You are safe to rest. Let your breathing slow further. Let your muscles soften. Let your thoughts release their grip. Trust in the Lord, not by effort, by release. Lean gently. I will hold you. Stay here. Breathe. Let go. Sleep now, knowing that nothing essential is being neglected. Nothing necessary is being forgotten. Nothing important is at risk. You are held. Psalm 121. I do not sleep. You may. Nothing will slip past my care tonight. You have been watching for so long, watching for changes in tone, watching for signs that something might go wrong, watching for the moment you would need to step in and fix what feels fragile. Even now, as your body lies still, part of your mind may still be on guard, scanning the quiet for anything it might have missed. You do not need to keep watch tonight. Psalm 121, Night Prayer, was spoken into a world where travel was dangerous, nights were uncertain, and protection felt far from guaranteed. And yet the promise was not that danger would never exist, but that care would never fail. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? Help does not come from your vigilance. It does not come from staying awake. It does not come from replaying every possibility in your thoughts. Help comes from the one who does not grow tired, who does not lose focus, who does not look away when the night deepens. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. If the maker of all that exists is watching over you, then nothing essential is at risk, because you rest. Nothing important is neglected, because you sleep. Nothing necessary slips through the cracks when your eyes close. He will not let your foot slip. Notice the tenderness of this promise. It does not say you will never feel unsteady. It says you will not fall unnoticed. It says support is already beneath you. If you have felt unsteady lately, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, this is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are human, and being human does not disqualify you from care. God watches over you, not intermittently, not when it is convenient, not only when you are awake and praying. Watching means attentive, steady, unwavering. He who watches over you will not slumber. You may drift. You may lose awareness. You may enter sleep without realizing the moment it happens. But care does not drift with you. It remains. This is why divine protection sleep is possible, not because the night is harmless, but because protection does not depend on your awareness. The Lord watches over you. Let that sentence settle slowly, not as information, but as reassurance. Watching does not mean waiting for something to go wrong. It means actively guarding, attentively keeping, faithfully staying. Your body can release its guard now. If your shoulders are tense, allow them to lower. If your jaw is tight, let it soften. If your breath has been shallow, allow it to deepen without effort. Sleep scripture is not meant to keep your mind busy. It is meant to give your nervous system permission to stand down. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. Shade is not absence. It is nearness. It is protection that stays close, moving with you, covering you without you having to ask. Even as you lie still, shade remains. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. Day and night, both are covered, both are known, Both are watched. Night can feel especially vulnerable because it removes distractions. The world quiets, and the mind grows louder. But the night is not a gap in care. It is a space where care continues without interruption. God watches over you, even now, as your thoughts begin to slow, even now, as your awareness softens, even now, as sleep draws near. If your mind tries to tell you that rest is risky, that something will be missed if you let go, hear this gently. Nothing will slip past my care tonight. You are not responsible for holding everything together. You were never meant to be. The Lord will keep you from all harm. This does not mean nothing challenging will ever touch your life. It means nothing touches you without being seen. It means no moment of fear, no instant of vulnerability, no second of the night is unattended. He will watch over your life, not just your circumstances, not just your responsibilities, not just the parts you show others, but the hidden places, the tender places, the tired places. All of it is watched with care. Psalm 121 Night Prayer is a reminder that vigilance is not your burden, protection is not your task, alertness is not your responsibility tonight. You may rest. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. This is not temporary coverage. This is not a short-term promise. It does not expire at sunrise. It does not weaken when you are asleep. Forever means there is no moment when attention fades. If you have ever felt that you had to stay awake to be safe, emotionally or physically, this promise gently releases you from that belief. You are safe to sleep. Divine protection sleep does not require perfect faith. It does not require constant prayer. It does not require you to feel calm before you rest. It requires trust. Trust that watching does not stop when you stop trying. Trust that care continues when consciousness fades. I do not sleep. This is not said to shame your tiredness. It is said to honor it. You are allowed to rest because you are not alone in the night. You may sleep. Your body was designed to rest. Your mind was designed to recover. Your soul was designed to trust. Nothing will slip past my care tonight. If a thought arises that tries to pull you back into vigilance, notice it gently. You do not need to argue with it. You do not need to chase it away. Simply return to this truth. God watches over you. Watching does not mean distant surveillance. It means attentive presence. It means care that stays close enough to notice every breath, every shift, every quiet sigh. If you wake briefly during the night, let this truth meet you again. You do not need to check anything. You do not need to review your worries. You may rest again. Sleep scripture works quietly, even when you are not fully aware. It seeps into the places beneath thought, teaching your body that it is safe to let go. You may feel your body growing heavier now. This is not something to resist. It is the natural response of safety. When the body senses protection, it releases its guard. The night does not require your strength. It does not benefit from your worry. It does not need your planning. It offers restoration. God watches over you. That means your fears do not get to decide this moment. That means your past does not get to define your safety. That means your future is not left unattended. Nothing will slip past my care tonight. Let your breathing slow naturally. No effort required. No control needed. If your thoughts blur, allow them to blur. If awareness fades, allow it to fade. I am watching. You may sleep. The hills do not move without my knowing. The stars do not shift unnoticed. The night does not deepen beyond my awareness, and neither do you. Your rest is not a risk. It is an act of trust. Psalm 121, Night Prayer, is not meant to be recited quickly. It is meant to be lived slowly, breathed in, rested in. The Lord is your keeper. Keeper means guardian, protector, one who does not look away. You are kept, even now, even here, even as sleep comes. If fear whispers that you should stay alert, remember this. Fear does not watch over you. Love does. God watches over you. Divine protection sleep is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is steady. It is faithful. You do not need to feel it strongly for it to be real. You do not need to notice it working. It works because it is faithful. I do not sleep. You may. Let that permission sink in. You are allowed to rest without fear of neglect. You are allowed to sleep without fear of loss. You are allowed to let go without fear of what might happen. Nothing will slip past my care tonight. Stay here. Breathe. Rest. Sleep now, knowing you are watched over, knowing you are protected, knowing you are safe. I am watching. You may sleep. Psalm 112. You do not fear bad news, not because the world has stopped changing, not because uncertainty has disappeared, but because your heart is no longer held hostage by what might happen. Your heart is steady. Steady does not mean untouched by life. It does not mean you never feel concern, never pause, never wonder. It means your heart has found an anchor deeper than headlines, deeper than messages, deeper than tomorrow's possibilities. Blessed is the one who fears the Lord, who delights greatly in his commandments. This blessing is not loud. It does not rush in with dramatic assurance. It settles quietly, the way confidence grows when you know you are not alone. It becomes a steadiness that remains even when the mind wants to race ahead. Psalm 112 Sleep Meditation was written for moments exactly like this, when the night grows quiet and the heart asks whether it is safe to rest, when the mind wonders if staying alert might protect you from what you cannot control. But vigilance does not give peace. Trust does. You do not fear bad news. Fear feeds on anticipation. It imagines outcomes before they arrive. It replays stories that have not yet been written. But fear loses its grip when the heart rests somewhere secure. Your heart is firm, trusting in the Lord. Firm does not mean rigid. It means supported. It means your heart is resting against something unmovable. Not against your own strength, not against your own planning, but against faithfulness that does not shift with circumstances. Fearless faith. Bible does not promise that bad news will never come. It promises that bad news does not get to rule you. It does not get to steal your rest. It does not get to define your night. Your rest is secure. Secure rest is not earned by effort. It is received through trust. It is the quiet confidence that nothing essential is at risk because you sleep. Nothing necessary will be forgotten. Nothing important will collapse because you let go. Peaceful sleep scripture does not demand that you feel calm before you rest. It offers calm as you rest. It meets you where you are, tired, thoughtful, human, and stays with you as your body unwinds. He will have no fear of bad news. His heart is steadfast, trusting in the Lord. Steadfastness grows slowly. It is formed in moments like this, when you choose rest over rumination, when you choose trust over control, when you choose to lean back instead of staying on guard. You have been strong for so long, strong enough to carry responsibility, strong enough to manage uncertainty, strong enough to keep going even when answers felt far away. Tonight, you do not need to be strong. Sleep now, beloved. Beloved is not a title you earn. It is who you are before you do anything at all, before you solve problems, before you make decisions, before you prove resilience. Beloved rests. Sacred serenity, deep sleep, is not about escaping reality. It is about resting within a reality where you are held, a reality where care does not pause when consciousness fades. Your heart is steady. If a thought about tomorrow arises, notice it gently and let it pass. You do not need to prepare for tomorrow tonight. Tomorrow will meet you with the same presence that holds you now. If a memory surfaces, acknowledge it without judgment. It does not define this moment. It does not need to be resolved before you sleep. Fearless rest with Jesus does not require you to banish every anxious thought. It requires only that you do not follow them, that you let them drift by like clouds without chasing them across the sky. Your heart is secure. Security does not come from certainty. It comes from trust, from knowing that even if news arrives, even if circumstances shift, you are not alone in it. The righteous will be remembered forever. This is not about reputation. It is about continuity, about a life held within faithfulness that does not end at nightfall. He is not afraid of bad news. Notice how fearlessness here is not bravado. It is calm. It is quiet. It is rest. Fearless faith. Bible teaches that courage often looks like sleep, like choosing to lay down your defenses, like trusting that the one who watches over you does not sleep. Your rest is secure. Let your breathing slow naturally. No need to guide it. Your body knows how to respond to safety. If your muscles feel tight, allow them to soften little by little. If your jaw is clenched, let it loosen. If your shoulders are lifted, let them drop. These are not small things. They are signals of trust. Sacred serenity, deep sleep invites your whole being to settle, body, mind, and soul, into the truth that you are cared for. Sleep now, beloved. You are not ignoring responsibility by resting. You are placing responsibility where it belongs. You are acknowledging that you do not have to hold everything together alone. Fear often pretends that rest is reckless, that if you stop thinking, something will go wrong. But fear is not wise. It is loud. Peace is quiet. Your heart is steady, even if your thoughts still wander, even if sleep takes time, even if you wake briefly in the night. Steadiness is not fragile. It does not vanish because you stir. It remains, waiting for you to settle again. He has distributed freely. He has given to the poor. His righteousness endures forever. This endurance is not fueled by anxiety. It is sustained by trust. Your endurance tonight looks like rest. It looks like choosing not to rehearse worst-case scenarios. It looks like allowing yourself to be held. You do not fear bad news, not because you are numb, not because you are indifferent, but because fear no longer decides how you live or how you rest. Your horn is exalted in honor. Honor here is not achievement, it is dignity. It is knowing your worth does not fluctuate with circumstances. You are worthy of rest. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of sleep. Sleep now, beloved. I am here. Here does not mean nearby. It means present, attentive, unmoved by the night. Here when your eyes close. Here when your breathing deepens. Here when dreams begin. If fear whispers again, let it whisper without answering it. You do not need to debate it. You do not need to defeat it. Return to this truth. Your heart is steady. Your rest is secure. Psalm 112 sleep meditation is not about denying reality. It is about grounding yourself in a reality deeper than circumstance, a reality where love remains constant, where care does not fade. Sacred serenity, deep sleep, is not something you must reach. It is something you allow. Let go of the need to monitor the night. Let go of the habit of bracing for impact. Let go of the belief that rest makes you vulnerable. Fearless rest with Jesus is safe. You are safe. The night does not belong to fear. It belongs to restoration. It belongs to quiet renewal that happens beyond awareness. You may feel yourself drifting now, or you may linger at the edge of sleep. Both are okay. Nothing is being measured. Nothing is being judged. You do not fear bad news, because whatever comes, you will not face it alone. Whatever arrives, you will be held. Whatever shifts, your foundation remains. Your heart is steady. Your rest is secure. Sleep now, beloved. I am here. Stay here. Breathe. Let go. The night holds no threat that love cannot meet. The dark holds nothing that care cannot see. Rest. You are safe. You are held. You are loved. Sleep now.